set quota. Okay, so what I'm trying to do here, I'm setting a quota for a specific directory. If you have you say user Hadoop, this is your HDFS path I'm talking about. Okay, in this you have something called data directory. You have something called data directory. The directory name is data. Okay, so in the this directory, in the directory tree, how many subdirectories you can create, how many subdirectories you can create. So you can specify that quota, you can set the quota for it. If you see here, it's clearly telling that you set the quota and give the quota value, how much quota I want to set, 10, 20, 15, whatever the quota I want to set, and give the directory name. And you can give the number of directories parallelly, give the directory name there. So what it will do, for that specific directory, how many subdirectories you can create, how many directories can create in the tree. This is actually a tree, right? This is how the tree will store. Let's say I have a data directory. In that I have a data 1, data 2. In this I have data 1. So in this tree, how many directories you can create? You can set that quota. So if you set the quota
So
for hmm,
it will count even in a directory or just
yes, in a
inside
directory,
that
in a
data?
directory, in a directory. Okay.
Okay, okay.
So when you set the quota for that, it will specifies that you can see that how many no, how many directories you can create in the tree. So if it's while setting, if you set 10, it counts the 10 directories you can create. And if you try to create more than that, it says that quota exceeded. The quota has been exceeded. Let's have a look. We will try that example. Let me create a new directory. How to create a new directory?
Hadoop.
I have created a new directory. I have created a new directory here. How to see whether directory is created or not?
ls command is there.
Test minus t. Test.
Okay, it can show you the data here. Yes, test also you can do that. If you know the path of that, if you know the directory name, you can also use the test command. Okay, if you know the directory name, if you don't know the directory name, you want to list out all the directories, you can see that. Okay, now Hdfs, you can also use the Hadoop DFS admin. Okay, Hadoop DFS admin is equivalent to Hdfs DFS. So we already discussed about this. This both are same. So either you can use Hadoop DFS admin or you can use Hadoop HDFS DFS admin. Okay, there won't be any change in that. There won't be any extra commands in that. So HDFS DFS admin. So let me take the name. I don't want to commit any spelling mistakes. Okay. Now here I'm telling that 1. I'm just giving you only 1. Okay. For data dir. This is my directory which I have created. Now the set it has been set the quota for that specific directory. Now let me try. And one more thing I would like to repeat one more time. Hadoop FS is equivalent to HDFS DFS. These both are same. Okay. So either you can use Hadoop FS or you can use Hadoop DFS. So I'm going to use Hadoop DFS, HDFS DFS, because we already seen Hadoop FS so many times before. Okay. mkdir slash data dir slash data dir2, or let's say subdata. So the namespace quota for directory and files of the directory dir is exceeded. So quota is only 1. The quota is only 1. So what it is telling? So the quota is already exceeded. So let me go ahead and change the quota. Now execute this one. It started creating the data. It started creating the directory. You guys understand what is the set quota command?
Yes, Ravi.
Okay, so someone asking me, is the DFS admin command will be available to the developer? No, it's based on the role has been
Hey,
assigned to your user. So here my user is Hadoop 1. So the based on the your administrator, the based on the roles has been given to Hadoop 1, you may have access, you may not have access. So yeah, before starting admin commands, I already explained that, saying that you may have access to execute these commands or you may not have to execute no access to execute these commands, but as part of this this training we are going to see all these commands to understand the how it will work internally, to understand the what is the command and what is the purpose of it. So that is the reason we are even though we are not a developers, administrator here, so we are going to see all the commands. Okay.
Ravi,
Sorry, Dheeraj, could you please unmute and talk?
what is the use of this set quota command? I mean, why admin needs it?
I mean, maybe he want to
I
set
mean,
for the he want to
I
set for.
understood that.
Go ahead.
Sorry. I understood that by using this we can set a maximum number of directories, but why do we do that?
Exactly why? Maybe he don't want to create so many directories on the specific directory. Maybe he don't want to allow to create multiple directories in the specific path. So maybe that can
Hey
be reason.
Ravi,
Yeah, hello, Anil. Yeah,
yeah, is there any default we can able to specify it on that, or what will be generally the default for the
there is no default as
directory?
such. There is no default. Okay, by default it will
So,
create any number of directories.
how can the admin control on that? Because see, my question will be like when we are working on the Hive,
Hmm.
if let's say by any chance if we are working on the partitions,
Hmm.
so it will create the partitions on the fly as well, right?
Correct.
So
Correct.
then at that point of time, because
Hmm.
of our block size,
Hmm.
we may have n number of partitions. So the folder structures within that particular folder, you will be creating lot of subdirectories because it is a
That's true.
partition on that.
Correct.
So
Even
how can we control on that?
okay. So
So
that.
if you okay, let me add one more.
Hmm.
If you control on to let us say 100,
Hmm.
if the partition increase to 150 or 200,
Hmm.
so will that affect my job and
Yes,
how
it will
we
affect your
handle
job.
in this
It will
particular
affect your
scenario?
job. It will not allow you to create those many. Okay, and when you're going for to do a partitioning in Hive, actually it's out of this one. So to answer your question, in the Hive partition we have something called dynamic partition as well as the static partition, if you guys remember. So in the
Yes,
dynamic
sir.
partition, what will happen by default, the dynamic partition will be non-strict mode. Okay, by default it will be in strict mode, sorry, so not in non-strict mode. By default it will be in strict mode. So what is happening if you take up, if you start create a partition on let's say date, in a 1 year, let's say we were creating partition on the hour. Okay, per day 24 hours are there. It means per day 24 directories are getting created, and if you take for 1 year, 365 into 24, so those many directories are getting created, but those can be controlled. There is already a configuration how many directories you can create. I forgot the configuration name. If you want, I can get the configuration name as well. So there is a configurations where you can control what is your parent partition, how many it can create. It can be 100, it can be 1000. You can configure that as well. So let me show you that. Mm, no, not in Hadoop. One second. Let me show you the configuration name. So I think by default 1000 or 100 will be there. One second, let me show you that. See here, the maximum dynamic partition 1000. Yeah, 1000 is the default value. So the maximum number of dynamic partitions allowed to be created in the total. Okay, you see here, see this
So
configuration.
maximum number of partition, yeah. So maximum number of partition per job, or how do you
It's not per
for
job. It's
one
not.
particular job, right?
I mean, it's that specific table. What are the table you are creating a data, right? That specific
Yeah.
table. Yes,
Okay.
correct. So if we see here, hive dot maximum dynamic partitions per node. In each node, how many it can be?
So this will be conflicting, right? Let's say if you set this particular parameter.
That's what Anil. That is what I'm trying to say here. Your admin.
Okay.
That's what I stopped you before. The admin is not going to restrict on your warehouse. Let's
Okay.
say you have a user hive warehouse, or you have your own path. Those kind of path you will not give a restriction for it. Let's say no one should create multiple directories on my root. This is my root, right?
Yeah.
This is my root. So I want to give some restriction for this root. Okay, they should not
Yeah. Okay.
exceed multiple directories. If I see here, I have created so many directories. I want to give some restriction for this root, or I have some specific directory where I want to give some specific, uh, give some, what you say, quota for it. Or I don't. I have something called S graph. I don't want to give more directories in this, right?
Okay.
But he cannot give a restriction on the user hive warehouse. It is he knows it that he knows it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
I
there
was
was
thinking
that.
in the warehouse perspective only. Like
Correct,
under
right?
the project, you can't able to specify anything on that.
Correct,
Under root, you as you said, it makes sense, but not under the
correct,
project.
correct.
Okay.
Understood, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Got it.
Yeah. Let's go back to
But
no. Mm,
Ravi, actually, I have no idea of Hive,
mm,
but like in Scoop or in MapReduce, when we create and when we run the job,
mm.
it will create part files, and part files are not directory; those are files.
Correct.
So restriction will not be applied on those, only on
Yes.
directories, right?
Correct. Correct. Correct.
Yeah.
Your
Okay.
restriction
So,
will not apply on
uh,
the files. So files can be you can load any number of files, but the restriction will apply on only in the directories.
okay. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So if you see the help of this, it's clearly telling that it may fail while setting the path. So let's say I'm going to do here. Is this possible? Is this possible?
No, no, it's not.
It's not possible. Negative number we cannot give, right? Let's say I don't have this directories does not exist. The directory does not exist. Is this possible? It's not possible, right? So there are few cases where your set quota also can fail. One case is your the quota what you are specifying is not negative number, and other quota you are specifying on a non-existing directory. It will fail. And if you are not administrator, you don't have administration rights to execute DFS admin command, then also it will fail. Okay, if you want to clear a quota, see here I have setted 10, right? So I have setted the 10 for this quota. I want to clear the quota. You have something called CLR quota, and you just specify the name of the directory. It will get clear the quota. Okay, you don't want to set the quota for this, so what you can do is just go ahead and you can just go ahead here, CLR quota. So now the quota will be removed from this directory, so there won't be any restrictions for the directory. You can go ahead and create any number of directories in it. Okay, see the next command and set space quota. Now I'm going to set the some specific space for the how much space my directory can contain. This directory has to be only load 1 GB. This directory has to load only 100 GB. So that kind of restriction also I can give on a specific to directory. In this case, even though if you're loading the files, it will not allow. It will say that the quota has been exceeded. So the quota has been exceeded. I cannot go ahead and create the data, or I cannot go ahead and load in the files in this. Understand?
Yeah, Ravi. So in this case, even I mean, even in case of scoop and MapReduce, number of partitions will not be created. I mean, those are even files, but those are
Yes,
also consuming space. So
correct.
those, but like one thing I want to know, like if we have set, in this scoop we have set number of mappers as say 10, and my quota is exhausted in 5 mappers. So even those
Job will
5
fail.
will not be created, or
Job will fail. It will
okay,
not create it.
even okay, it will not create even first
No,
5.
no.
Okay, okay, okay.
Yeah. And so I don't think I need to show the example for this. You guys can execute on them. So what is the set quota? What is the clear quota? What is the set space quota and all? So it's as simple as what I have executed, as simple as that. So finalize upgrade. Let's assume that you are using a version of Hadoop 1.x or 1.2.1 and you want to upgrade to Hadoop 2, right? So you have to go through all Hadoop upgrade process, like you have to replace all your softwares, and you have to change your configuration files, and all you have whatever the configuration files you have to change, you have to change, and all the machines you have to install the new Hadoop software, right? Till you'll execute the finalize upgrade, till you execute the finalize upgrade, that upgradation will not be success, because there may be some temporary locations where it still holds the old data. So old, I can say it's kind of registries. I really not sure. I never execute the finalize upgrade. So till you execute the finalize upgrade, the upgradation process will not be completed. Even though if you do upgradation, that will not be get no, upgrade. Okay. So rolling,
Hey Ravi,
yeah.
from a developer perspective,
Mm,
when we are working on a upgrade project,
mm,
so what are the steps we have to take care before we are upgrading it? Like as a developer, whatever the code you have developed on Hadoop version 1,
mm-hmm,
and if you are moving on to 2,
mm.
what are the necessary steps you have to follow before upgrading it?
Okay, so upgrading, so one is the software upgrading. When you are upgrading from Hadoop 1 to Hadoop 2, so whatever the code you have written in Hadoop 1 is absolutely fine. It will work with Hadoop 2, no doubt at all in this. But there may be a chances you may seeing somewhere like a deprecated. Uh, I'll be showing you an example what is a deprecated. So the code which I have shown you, showing you here, I have written in the Hadoop 1. So the same code I'm executing in the Hadoop 2. Okay, this is the mapper one. Let me show you the driver class. See here, the strike note. So what it is telling, it has been deprecated. Instead of this, it is asking me to no, it is asking me to execute some other API. So let's get instance, and the get instance I have to pass this. So that's so it will some of the APIs. So suppose if you're writing a MapReduce code in Hdfs, nothing changes. Okay. Suppose you have written some MapReduce code, or you have written some Hive code. Those are nothing changes. But if any new libraries has been deprecated, or any libraries old libraries has been deprecated, those will be clearly show you that it has been deprecated. You can make use of the latest one. That's the only change you need to take care. Okay. Not only
Yeah,
this,
Ravi.
yeah.
But here what we are doing, we are if we are changing in the code, or
Uh-huh.
even we are downgrading. Say let's say previously our version was 2, now it's 1.
Mm,
So many things will give error.
mm.
But those code we are developing on our client machine, that is on our local, and that should not have any relation with this finalized query, because that is
No.
is with HDFS,
His question
right?
was his question was different. What his question was, being a developer, I have upgraded my software, but the code, what are the code I have written, that is based on these libraries, Hadoop 1 libraries. If you see here, this is my project, no? If you go and see here,
Yeah,
this is my yarn.
yeah,
Okay, so whatever the libraries
yeah,
I'm using here, they're all 2.6.4, right? There may be a
yeah,
chance some
yeah,
I might be using 2.1.x, right, or 1.2.x, right? So in that case, what will
yeah.
happen, your code also need to change some libraries. So
Yes,
what are the
yes.
preconditions or prerequisites, what are the things I need to take care for the developing a code? That's what this question is. The question is
Okay, okay.
valid question. What you need to do for your project, see, in the most of the cases we will be using the Maven projects. Okay, in the Maven projects you will be having something called form file will be there. So you have to show that form, you have to update your form file based on your the latest version you are using. That's the only change you need to do. if you are using a Maven project. In that POM file, what are the libraries are required for your Hadoop MapReduce? Those libraries names you will change. Let me show you that as well.
Here, yeah, actually, I want to ask you about the POM file. Like, can you please elaborate more on that?
So the POM is like okay, let me take some project. This is the POM file, which is project object model file. Okay, this file, let's so it's opening. In this file, you will define all your dependencies. This file you will make all your dependencies in this. What is the dependency? See, what is the library you are using? Let me show you here something. JDK tool. What is the JDK I'm using here? Apache Hadoop. What is Apache Hadoop version I'm using? Which library I'm using here? And Apache logging. For the logging, what I'm using here? MR unit. MR unit is for the test cases for your MapReduce. What are I'm using here? So these kind of dependencies will specify here. Okay, so when you change your Hadoop version from 1 to 2, because wherever you're going to deploy this code, that environment is Hadoop 2, but your code is Hadoop 1. Okay, there may be slight mismatches. Okay, slight mismatches. In that case, what you will do, most of the cases will not fail, guys. Hadoop 1, what are the code you have written in Hadoop 1, this will absolutely fine, it will work with Hadoop 2, no problem at all. And there are minor changes, like as I shown you before, some of the things are deprecated. Some of the things are deprecated, right? So here in this Maven, what we'll do, you will specify what library, what is the dependency you want to add. You will specify the dependency version here, a dependency name and version here. It's called artifact ID and your dependency version name here. So as soon as you specify them here, while you are building your code, building means compiling. Okay, while you are building your code, it will connect to the internet respect to repository, what are the repository you have specified. So it will download all the jar files. Respect to jar files will be downloaded, and based on those jar files, it will be compiled. The code will get compiled. Okay, that time if you have something like you still are using here old API, it will show that it has been deprecated. Please use the latest version, because as soon as your POM is built, okay, as soon as your POM is built, what will happen, all your libraries will change. What are the libraries you have here, right? These libraries will change. Let's assume that now I'm using Hadoop 3, here all Hadoop 2. So my POM is saying that Hadoop 3, but here Hadoop 3 will come. All my libraries will come as Hadoop 3. But when all my libraries come as Hadoop 3, what will happen? So the code which I have written here, right? The code which I have written here, right? That is belong to Hadoop 2 or Hadoop 1, whatever it is. The older version than your libraries. So that time it will clearly says that it has been deprecated. Better use the latest one. Let me show you one more example. It looks very small, right? Let me show you one more example here.
So Ravi, the POM file is generated specific to, I mean, when is that generated, and is it
POM
specific
file
to
will not
each project?
the POM file will not generate automatically. You have to create a project using a Maven as a Maven project. While you are creating project as a Maven project, the POM file will be created. In that POM file, you have to specify what are your dependencies. You have to specify how your POM file will know what you need in your project. So you have to tell that what are the dependencies jars I need for my project. You have to tell in the POM file.
So in our local directories, whatever we are working right now on these local programs, we never set anything like a POM files,
Because
right?
I'm not using Maven project. I'm using normal project. It's a normal plain Java core Java project. Maven projects are little
Okay.
different. Same, the code, everything is the code and all. Nothing changes. Only change will comes in the way you build, the way you specify the jar files. So in the normal, see, these are my normal projects, right? In this normal project, I have created my yarn. The build path, I have added all these jar files. I have added manually. If you go with the Maven, you no need to add it. You just need to specify what is the jar you need to download. Okay, so actually we are getting diverted from the actual thing. So please go back to the what we need. I hope you guys are clear. I hope you guys
Yeah,
have
yeah.
got at least the idea about what is a Maven and how it has been. So that is a finalized upgrade. Okay, and rolling upgrade. So if you want something is went wrong, you want roll it back. I mean like backward compatibility, you can do it. And ACLs and all, I'm not sure because those are more into access control limits. See, access control limits, I have read it for a long time, but I really don't remember about them. So let's check the refresh. So refresh is the
Ravi,
mm,
Ravi, I have a doubt about the finalize upgrade and rolling upgrade. So you were saying that if we install something
mm.
and if unless we do finalize upgrade, it will not be upgraded, and by rolling upgraded, it will be rolled back.
No,
But
if it, something
whatever
goes wrong,
update,
if something goes wrong, you want to roll back it. You want to roll it back.
yeah, yeah.
Mm,
But yeah, so my question is, whatever update we will do, will
mm.
we do in HDFS within the cluster, or because we will be separately doing on our local machine, and that will be the part of cluster. So
Mm.
we'll how will we doing that in within the HDFS? So
I didn't
I'm
get you. Could you please
it's
repeat?
not very. So like if we are doing any upgrade, like we are upgrading from Hadoop 1 to 2,
Hmm.
that Hadoop we are installing on our
Hmm.
particular data node, one
Hmm.
machine,
Hmm.
and
It's not for
we
one
have
mission, right? When you want to do a cluster, you have to do for all the cluster, right? All the missions you have to upgrade, right? You look at here, you read this, no, what the description is saying that finalize upgrade of HDFS. Data nodes delete their previous version working directories and followed by the name node doing the same. This completes the upgrade process.
okay, okay, yeah,
I think
okay,
it's
okay.
it's made you know your doubt has been cleared.
Okay, so it will upgrade on all the machines.
Yes.
Okay, yeah,
Okay,
perfect.
and also refresh nodes, it seems that we have missed the refresh nodes, so you guys can easily understand what is the refresh nodes is doing. If you change any of the configuration in the files and you want to, you don't need to restart the machine, you can just say refresh nodes. Updates and name node with a set of data nodes allowed to connect the name node. See what it is telling that, right? Suppose when you want to add a new data node to our cluster, what you will do, I think we not yet discussed about that. So whenever in the cluster you want to add a new data node, you have a specific procedure for it. First, the data node should have a if whether you are going through Ambari or Cloudera Manager, or you are going through manual Apache. If you are going through manual Apache, what you need to do, you have to first log into that machine. What are the machine you have no, going to add to the cluster? First, you need to log into this machine. You need to install Hadoop software, Java, Hadoop, and all those things you need to do here. And configurations also you have to modify here. And after that, you need to log into this machine using SCP, secure copy, or remotely, or SSH. You do that, you have to start SSH, log into this machine. After logging it, you have to start slave services. What is the slave services? Let's say your data node, your node manager, a task track, node manager. You need to start the services in this machine. Then there is something called an HDFS default XML file. There is something called hosts, dfs.hosts. There is something called dfs.hosts. This is the property, and the property value you should give this machine IP address in a file. You will create one file. Okay, you will create one file here. Let's say IPs. In this file, you will say 1 dot 2 dot 3 dot 4 dot say how many machines you want to add. All the machine IP addresses will give. This file path you will specify in this value. Okay, here you will give slash IPs, whatever the file name, or you can give slash slaves. You will give the IP the file path here. Now, as soon as you've given the file path, your name node cannot recognize this machine. The name node cannot recognize. So to get recognize this newly added machine, what we have to do? We have to do a refresh nodes. As soon as you do refresh nodes, what will happen? Our name node will start reloading these configurations from the HDFS site. So you should not change default file, guys. Why I'm showing a default XML file. This configuration will be there in the default. You need to copy this configuration. You need to put into hdfsi.xml. In this XML file, you need to paste this. The DFS. Let me write properly. Property DFS dot hosts slash property slash value. Here you have to give the slash ip.txt, whatever the file name you have to give. Then after that slash config, that configuration will be closed. So as soon as you change the site specific XML file, you no need to restart the cluster. You no need to restart the cluster. You just need to execute the refresh nodes. You just need to execute the refresh nodes. Okay, understand guys? Yes or no? You guys understood or not?
Yeah, yes, Ravi.
Okay, so that is what the first statement is telling. Updates the name node with a set of data nodes allowed to connect. Whatever the IP addresses you have mentioned that ip.txt file, right? Though all those IP addresses are eligible to talk to a name node now. Okay, so name node rereads the data node host names from the file you define by DFS hosts. Look at here. This is what I was explaining you. DFS host or DFS host exclude. Exclude is for you want to remove some nodes. Decommission process, that is. So we'll talk about that later. Decommission process. Configuration parameters. Hosts defined in the HDFS hosts are data nodes that are part of the cluster. Now once you refresh, those will be part of the cluster. If there are entries in the dfs.hosts, only the host in that is allowed to register with the name node. Rest of them are not. Entries in that host exclude. Those are for decommissioning process. Look at here. So data nodes are complete decommissioning when all the replicas from the system. Suppose you want to remove two machines from the cluster. Okay, what you will do? Those machine IP addresses, similar like this guys. Those machine IP addresses will keep in a one file. Decommission process. It is called decommission process. If anyone asks what is the decommission process, called. So those IP addresses will keep in the file. Okay, in your hdfs.xml. In this file, what you will do? You will be having a slash property. The property name is dfs.hosts.exclude name, and the value. What the value will give? The IP address.txt, whatever the file you have given, the path. Okay, now as soon as you've given this, when you do refresh nodes, it will start decommissioning these machines. Start decommissioning. Decommission means don't think that immediately it will delete from the cluster. No, it will initiate the decommission process. So as soon as you initiate the decommission process, what will happen? Whatever the IP address you have specified here, right? Those machines will have some data. That data will start distributing to other machines, like start copying to other machines. As soon as they copied complete data from those machines, I mean replicas, okay, as soon as they copy the data from those machines, then it is finalized that okay, I don't need these machines now onwards because I have taken all the backup. Let's kick them. So then they'll kick out. That is called decommissioning process. That is called decommissioning process. Decommission means don't think that immediately as soon as you initiate that it will delete from here. Okay, so it will start initiate the decommission process as soon as they completely see here all the replicas from those replicated other nodes, all the data from those machines are replicated other nodes. The decommission nodes are not automatically shut down and are not chosen for the writing any replications. So what does it mean? Those machines will not be considered for, those machines are not considered for further processing. It means that those are not part of me, those are not part of your cluster. That is what the decommissioning process will initiate. Okay, I think we have discussed sometime before last time, so we missed it. Okay, so another one also I have skipped it here. Restore failed storage. Look at here. We need to set it, guys. That's whether true or false we need to set. I'll tell you how to set it. The flag to attempt restore of failed storage replicas if they become available. If they become available. Let's look at what it is. I'm checking whether my cluster has been set to true or false. So what it is telling, restore file is set to false. I'll set to true. Now I have set it true. Now what will happen? in my cluster, if any of the, while copying any of the replica is missed, if that replica is available now, I'll recover it. I will recover it. That is this flag. That is the flag we will enable. Either you have to enable false or true. That we will do. That is your, sorry, restore failed storage. The flag you have to enable either set to true or set to false. Okay, or you need to decide it whether my cluster has to recover automatically, or whether SR, I mean true or false. So you will specify them. Okay, that is called your restore the failed storage. Okay, and another important thing, guys, save meta space, save meta save, save meta save. So this is what I would like to elaborate more. We have two type of metadata in the name node. Yes or no? Two type of metadata. What are they? One is your data related metadata. One is data related metadata, which is FS image and edit log. Okay, I mean those are two files for we can consider as a metadata. And there is something called another metadata with respect to nodes metadata, node metadata. Node metadata. So how many data nodes are there? What is the space of it? How much space it is there? So whether the data, whether the any machines are dead or alive, this kind of metadata information also will be there in our name node. Okay, that information we can save it. How to save it? How to save it? Hdfs, DFS admin, hyphen meta save. You need to specify the file name on which file you want to save, and which file you want to save. Now, what is the location where this file will go? This file will go to your Hadoop installation is there, no? Your Hadoop installation. In that Hadoop installation, you have a logs file, logs folder. In this logs folder, the file will be created. What did happen? It's not success. I
Will it
think.
be saved one time, or
What is one
it will
time?
be saved one time? Like this metadata will be saved only one time, or if metadata keeps changing, it will be keep saving.
No, when you take one time, it will take one time only, no? If you
Okay.
keep changing, it will be
Okay.
keep changing. It's small s, not capital S. So now I'm taking metadata. Whatever the metadata of my current system, it will give. Tomorrow I have one more machine. How this file will be understand that? So you have to create one more meta save that time if you want.
Okay. Okay.
So now go to your logs folder. In the logs folder, Hadoop logs folder, 9 to 10 file has been created. So go ahead and look at this file, what it contains. These many directories are there. These many files are there. Files and directories. These many blocks are there. This is the total size, and this is the live nodes. How many live nodes? How many dead nodes? What is the meta save or block waiting for the replications? How many replicas waiting for the blocks? Okay, and you can see that those blocks in this get merge.txt. This is waiting. The replication is, this is waiting, and this is also waiting. These two blocks are waiting. And missing replica, is there any missing? Is there any meta save block being replicated? All this information, what is the your number of data nodes, and the space is allocated, what is the space of the data node, how much has been used, all this information will come. That is your metadata of your cluster, not the data. Metadata is something is different. Okay, clear, guys? Any doubt till here? Any doubt till here? Okay, so print topology, reconfig and all I'm not going to explain very detailedly. Reconfig means you are changing the configuration for specific your data node, and you can specify the host name, or you can specify the IP address and port number, whether you want to start or stop. What is the status? You can find that. Okay, so print topology, it will print the topology, what is the rack, what is the data node you are using. So if I say print topology here, it will says that I have, because I have only one node cluster, it will says that so you have only one data node and it has only one cluster rack, which is default rack. Let's look at here. This is only one data node. This is the data node IP address and port number, and this is the rack, default rack. So if you have multiple racks, if you have a real-time cluster, it will shows all the data nodes, and each data node is belong to which rack. That information will be loaded here. That information will be loaded here. Okay. Refresh name nodes. You can refresh the specific name node by specifying your host name and IP port number. Delete block pool. You guys know what is a block pool. You can delete the specific block pool. Set balancer bandwidth. Set balancer bandwidth. We have discussed something called balancer, if you guys remember. And the few classes before, we have discussed what is a balancer. Balancing the cluster. There may be, let me explain what is a balancer one more time here. In the Hadoop cluster, let's assume that I have 10 machines, 10 nodes, data nodes. In the 10 nodes, 6 nodes are over utilized. 6 nodes are over utilized, 4 nodes are not properly utilized. Underutilization, utilized. Utilized means they have been huge data has been, more data has been loaded into this, less data has been loaded into this. Now your cluster is not in balancing. The cluster is not in balance. So we can make this cluster balancing by using the cluster balancer. The service you can run. You can start running the service also. You can start running the service also. If you go and see in your Hadoop installation, go to sbin directory. There is something called balancer. Balancer. Yep. Start balancer.sh. You can start the service. You can start the service. When you start the service, it will be keep balancing your cluster. From overutilized, it will start copying some data to underutilized machines. So to copy this data, it requires some bandwidth, network bandwidth, dedicated network bandwidth. That dedicated network bandwidth we will set here by using this. You can set a specific dedicated bandwidth for each data node. So this is my bandwidth for this. This is my bandwidth for this. Though this will be specified by your administrator. If you want to see more detail, you can go ahead and look at the description here. So changes the network bandwidth. What are the bandwidth you want to change? Changes the network bandwidth used by each data node during the HDFS block balancing. While balancing, what is the dedicated bandwidth I have to use? That we will be specified here. Bandwidth is the maximum number of bytes per second that will be used to each data node. This value overrides if the database balancer bandwidth per second per parameter. So if there is another configuration, that configuration will be overridden by this configuration. If you specify any value here, this value will be overridden the default value. It will be override the default value. Okay, that is called you're setting the bandwidth for balancer bandwidth. That is for specifying a balancer bandwidth. Okay, and other important commands we are going to discuss now, guys. So fetch fs image, not fs image, fetch image. So I am running my cluster. So when I'm running my cluster will have my fs image and edit logs will be there. Where fs image edit logs will be there? What are the directory you have specified? Your on data or hdfs name node and the current in that. These are the fs image and edit logs. These are your fs image and edit log files. I want to save my latest fs image. So very simple. hdfs dfs admin fetch image. I'll sometimes the spelling I don't want to give wrong, correct only. It's capital I only. Fetch image.
I think you missed the space.
Fetch the image to, I want to fetch to my local location USR local. I'm just taking the help directory. Here I say file 9 to 10.txt. I'm creating this file. So now what will happen, it will fetch all the fs image file information and it will put into this file. Let's go ahead, usr local help. In this help we have file 9 to 10. Go and see the file what it contains. It's loading actually. See, it is hanged. It's loading because it's a very big fs image file. So I mean big in the sense there are so much of data has to be I have loaded so much of data into my cluster, so all the information is there in that file. Not this file. This file is the old file what we have seen. It's taking some time to load. So 173 KB only, no? What is the problem then? I think it is not responding. Let me close. Oh, it's not responding. One second, guys. Force quit. I'm creating. It's taking quite a long time to load the file data. I don't know why. Okay, it will fetch all the fs image and it will put into other specific file. What the file you have shown, it will load into that file. So let me hdfs admin commands. Let me open this. Oh, I think my now that gedit is not working, right? Okay, I'll go with see. This is how it looks. It's not human understanding, right? It won't be in understanding format. You cannot understand anything from this, right? You cannot understand anything. That file, image file, you cannot understand it. Not in human readable format. So that's why the file was not able to open there. Okay, so here. So the next command was the fetch image we have seen. Allow snapshot, disallow snapshot, we don't need to worry about that. Shut down the specific data node. You want to shut down the specific data node. You can shut down the specific data node using the shutdown data node and data node host name and IP port number. You can just shut it down. Save metastore, we just talked about it. There is something storage policy, not this policy. I think we already discussed about this save namespace. Yeah, I was thinking about this save namespace. We already discussed save namespace. What it will do? The save namespace, what it will do, it will take your edit file. It will take your edit file, the what are the running edit file, and that edit file will be merged with fsimage. That edit file will be merged with fsimage. So if anyone missed in the last class, please go ahead and have a look one more time from the videos. So what the save fsimage will do, save what is the command I forgot? Save namespace. It will take your edit file here. So what is the current running edit file, and it will merge with your fsimage. It will take your edit file and will merge with the fsimage. So this has been explained in the previous class. So that's it about admin commands. Okay, so tomorrow the plan for the next class, not tomorrow, the plan for next class is we'll be seeing these commands and we'll be seeing fsck. We already saw what is fsck, and we'll be seeing the balancer, and we'll be seeing oiv, oev, and getconf. Getconf is a command to get the any configuration. Okay, uh, anything else here? distcp is not there here. These are the commands we'll be discussing, and we have a distcp here. We'll be discussing about the distcp command as well. So these are the commands we'll be discussing in the next class, and after that we'll be starting the core Java, which is required for the MapReduce. Okay, not in detail complete Java. It is just a core Java, whichever is required for the MapReduce. We will be discussing about that. Okay, so now I'm stopping a session till here. I mean, whatever we discussed till here, I'll be stopping now. So if you guys have any doubts, please go ahead and ask one by one, and I'll try to answer. So before that, please give me a time. Let me go through the some chat window. In the chat, there are some questions has been raised by multiple people. I would like to see them and first answer them. Okay, let me go through. Okay, let me go through the chat window. Joining. Hdfs admin commands. And okay. Can we get the recorded session, Gayatri? Yes, yes, Gayatri. The recorded session will be uploaded in the drive, not in the drive, in the YouTube. You can have a look. Okay. And Ravi, Maven means for storing code tool. No, it's not the storing. It is a build tool. Maven is the build tool, where you want to specify all your dependencies. It'll start building that. It's like a build tool. And for now, understand it as it get all the necessary jars. And okay, someone is answering to what is a Maven. At the time of projection, the POM file will be get generated. Maven project at the time of the Maven project. Okay, if you delete the FS image by mistake, what will happen? Rakesh. So Raksha, I think Raksha. So he's asking if we delete FS image by mistake, what will happen? Can anyone tell me if I delete the FS image, what will happen?
So we can get it from edit logs.
His question is that how to get. He's asking that what will happen if you remove the FS image, what will happen?
So
You lose the data. You cannot recover. You
any,
cannot.
any
Yeah.
yeah, any client coming to name node will not be able to tell that particular data is stored into which data node.
Yeah.
We
So
will
we
lost all the metadata.
we can get it from the
Ravi,
trash. It will move
matrix.
to the trash, and we can get it from the trash.
if you enable the trash, by default the trash will not be enabled, Ramesh. We have to enable the trash.
Metadata will get deleted.
Correct.
Mira.
Yes, metadata will be get deleted. The data will not be available. So whatever the data,
Yeah.
before we have stored, that will not be available for your access. Okay. Yes, I'll be sharing this video in the YouTube. Everyone can access it, and everyone knows, I think, what is my YouTube channel. And please share the YouTube link on. Okay, I'll share one more time here. Let me. Yeah, this is the link. In real time, Maven is compulsory. It's not compulsory, Sandeep. So most of the guys will go with a Maven only because you don't need to struggle to add all your jars manually. So most of the guys will go with a Maven. And during the time frame data loss, I mean, I didn't get to Venkat Subbaya. Could you please repeat your question? I didn't get your question. Hadoop commands would not run. Okay, so yeah, that's it. That's the questions from the chat window. If you guys have any questions, please go ahead and ask me. I'll try to answer them.
Ravi, actually, before the starting of the session, the question I was asking about increasing the RAM size. So could you please look just after the session? I'll share my screen.
Sure, I will do that.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, understood, Venkat Subbiah. Yeah. Anyone else? If you guys don't have any questions, we can drop. We can drop the session. The next session will be on Wednesday, 9 to 10 p.m. And I also want to
Venu?
update you guys, a small update to everyone. I'm planning to start a new Hadoop and Spark batch in the morning, 5:30 to 6:30. Interested people can ping me in my WhatsApp so I can respond to them. So I'll share my content. If you guys can also go through a content. Okay, Manikandan, how image file is stored in HDFS? How image file will store in HDFS? Image file will store in HDFS means even it will also go divide into blocks. It will store in the blocks only. Whatever the data is stored in HDFS, it will store in the form of blocks only.
But while processing, how will you process that? Like I saw in your video, like text file,
Mm-hmm.
we'll read it using record reader line by line.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to image file, how will be input split be created?
That's what you have to use the image specific file input format. So to process the images in HDFS, we have a different kind of tools in Hadoop that is called HIPI, Hadoop Image Process Interface or something. So there are different image process tools are available on top of Hadoop.
Okay.
Yes, Ramesh, it is not a free class, Ramesh. So the free class is only 9 to 10 in the night. Okay, so I think no doubts.
Hi, one quick question.
Yeah, go ahead.
When we do, file copy from, local to DFS, what exactly happens? It reorganizes the data, when I mean to ask that question, the data will be there in local and as well as in DFS, or like it will be moved from local file system to DFS?
So what is the command you are using? So based on that.
Copy
From
local to DFS.
Copy
Yeah.
from local. So to copy the data from the local to HDFS, there are three commands are available. Okay, one is hyphen copy from local. There is another command called hyphen put. There is another command called move from local.
Yes. Okay, that should make my
So
question
the
clear, I think.
move come local is cut paste.
Okay.
Cut into the local, paste into HDFS. Put command, copy paste. Your copy from local also copy paste. So the data will be available in the local as well as in HDFS.
Okay. If you can elaborate, that means the replication factor will be replicated over all the three nodes. In the sense, what I was trying to understand is how it differentiate the local and the DFS file system when it comes to Linux and in between Hadoop file system.
So, okay, I think you have missed my previous classes. You didn't attend the initial classes of that. I would strongly recommend you to go through my previous classes. But to answer your question, this is your local file system,
Yes.
LFS, and you will create HDFS on top of it. You're creating HDFS means you are installing Hadoop software, right?
Yes.
So to access terminal, I'm talking from the terminal. To access this, you'll directly go ls, mkdir, you'll directly use the commands to access this. Your terminal knows by default, if you are using these commands, your terminal knows that you have to go and talk to local file system. Okay. To talk to this HDFS file system, you have something called in a terminal only. Same, again, it's a terminal here. You have to use Hadoop FS. What this Hadoop FS will do, internally, it is a Java code. Okay. The Java code will execute and it will execute and will directly talk to your HDFS. Okay, you have to use Hadoop FS. When you say Hadoop FS or HDFS or HDFS DFS, so when you say these commands, what does it mean? You want to talk to HDFS layer, not the local file system layer. So this is how your terminal will differentiate. If I'm just plain giving ls, mkdir, like a copy, this kind of commands, it knows that I need to talk to local file system. When you're using HDFS or DFS command, it knows that you are talking to HDFS.
Yeah, thank you. Maybe if I can put a question, For example, in Hive, like we use external tables, right? And internal tables, managed tables. So there also, if we, if we delete a managed table, the data will get lost. That means even the actual local file system. Oh yeah, if we maintain, it will be there in local file system. Otherwise, the data will be lost
So
permanently.
you don't confuse with the local file system HDFS. Local file system is our local file system. Whatever you are saving, you want to delete it, you want to delete manually. If you want, manually means you're normally using normal terminal, or you can go through. See, this is my local file system.
Yes.
Okay, this is my local file system.
I'm
Now I want to delete these things, I can go ahead and delete. Even though Hadoop software, I can delete from here. Even this license, all this I can delete from this. This is purely my local file system. Okay, the HDFS file system I cannot see here. The HDFS file system is completely different. You cannot see from your UI. If you want to see your HDFS file system, you have to see through web only. The web is localhost 50070 is the port number. You have to see from this only. This is the only way to see the your local HDFS file system through UI. Or you can use the Hadoop FS commands to see that. As of now, whatever the command we have executed, these are the commands. If you want to see the HDFS file system, you have to use the Hadoop file system. If you want to remove here, you can also remove, but you have to use Hadoop only. Hadoop FS-remove. This command only how to remove. If you want to remove, you have to prefix with the Hadoop FS. Okay, that is the difference one. The second difference is this is also file system and local file system. Both act similarly, but your HDFS has a special features. Those features are by default, it will copy 3 copies. It will the block size is bigger. It will be in a distributed manner. It has a different kind of features are available in HDFS. And you are totally confused with your Hive internal tables and managed tables. Your internal tables or managed tables, whatever the tables you are creating in Hive, you are creating on top of HDFS only, not in the local file system. Don't get confused with the local file system and HDFS. Your local file system is completely different, your HDFS is completely different. In HDFS also, you have a mechanism through Hive. I'm talking about a Hive, but even the Hive, you have managed tables as external tables. Managed tables are weak tables. If you want me to tell you in that terminology, it's a weak table. If you delete the table, the data also will get deleted, or metadata also will get deleted. But external tables are strong reference tables. If you delete the table, data will not be deleted, only table reference will be deleted. I can put in that way to make you understand.
Yeah, that makes clear. Thank you very much.
Both operations are you are doing on HDFS only, not in the local file system.
Yes.
Yeah. Any other doubts, guys? Okay, I think everyone is clear. I would like to
it regroups the small block size into a bigger block size when we move from Linux to DFS.
why it will see. Okay, I strongly recommend you to go through again my old videos. See,
Yeah, sure, I'll go through. Yeah.
This is your file.
Yes.
Text file .txt, whatever it is. This is there in your local. Okay, when you're putting into HDFS, as I said, it has its own block size as 64, 128 MB, whatever the block size it is. The file will be break into the bigger blocks, and these bigger blocks will be loaded into HDFS. Even this HDFS is on top of your local file system. I said before also. Okay, when you are accessing through this file system, the block size is 4 KB. When you are accessing through this file system using your Hadoop FS, the block size is bigger block, 64 MB or 128 MB, based on the version you are using or based on the configuration you have.
Yeah, I was trying to understanding the mechanism when we do that. Local
What mechanism you are trying to understand? What will happen?
like,
Right? You are trying to understand write flow, correct?
Yeah, 4K. Maybe 8 KB block, for instance, say on Linux file system, but in HDFS it will be organized as 64 MB or 128 MB, right?
Correct.
That is what. Yeah.
So what it see this the file is, let's say this is 1 GB data now. Okay. If you are keeping into normal file system, let's say it is a Hadoop.txt file or Hadoop.pdf file. Okay, 1 GB file. This file you are keeping into your local file system here. Internally in the hard disk, it will store in the form of small blocks.
Yes.
Okay, while retrieving also it will retrieve in the form of small blocks, either 4 KB or 8 KB, depends on the file system you're using or depends on the microprocessor you're using. Okay, now I'm not going to work on this. I'm going to work on the HDFS. My HDFS
Yes.
has a special mechanism where my block size is a bigger block. Okay, so
Yes.
when I'm
Yes.
putting this file into my bigger HDFS, my client is already divided my file into small chunks. Who is the client? Wherever
Yes.
you're executing the your HDFS command, that is your client. So here I'm executing my HDFS client, HDFS in this terminal I'm using HDFS command. This is my client now. Okay,
Yes.
wherever you are executing your command, that is your client. The client will taken care to divide your file into bigger blocks. Each block size will be 64 MB, 64 MB or 128 MB, whatever it is. Okay, if it is 128 MB, you will get the 9 blocks or 8 blocks. I think nine blocks. Okay, this each
Yeah. Yeah.
now it will take this piece of data. It will take the complete this piece of data. It will go and put into HDFS. So our hard disk is same. Okay, in our hard disk is same. Hard disk never change for HDFS and local file system. Okay,
Yes. Yes.
you
Yes.
what we need to understand here, whatever the hard disk you have, the hard disk
Yeah.
never
Yeah. I
change.
mean, the data is actually scattered on the disk actually when we put in local, that is as 8 KB or somewhere, right?
These are
Yeah.
tracks, correct? And these will
Yes.
be
Yes.
sectors. Okay, so
Yeah.
what is one block? One block means whatever the data you are storing in between this one sector to another sector, that is one block.
Yes.
So if you are accessing this hard disk using local file system, it will read only 4 KB of data from one sector to another sector. But if you are accessing through Hadoop, that may be a bigger block from where you are accessing maybe multiple sectors. Your seek,
Yes.
getting one block is called
Yeah.
seek.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Okay, so the seek, if you are accessing through local file system, the seek will be 4 KB or 8 KB. But if you are using HDFS, the seek is bigger block. The seek is 864 MB or 120 MB block. It will seek. It will bring
Yes.
that much bigger block. Your hard disk is same. The hard disk never change, even though it is a HDFS or any other file system.
Yeah, that didn't change. That is what, like, this 4 KB to, I mean, it stays there on the hard disk only. But no, when we run that command, so what it is exactly regroup. I mean, the data is same on the living on the data file system, right? In the sense like on the hard disk. So it reorganizes into 64 MB or 128 MB, right?
It is not reorganizing, Srinivas. I didn't understand why.
So this is a different copy. That is a different copy that you mean to say?
Yeah, this is your local copy. Why are you worrying about local copy? Local copy is same. Local copy never changes.
Okay, so these two are two different entities that you mean to say?
Correct. Your local copy is already local copy. You have that copy is there with you. As I said here, until unless you are using this command, is a cut paste. If you are using put or copy, it's a copy paste. Copy means your local copy, original copy will be same. While it is taking, it will not take as a 4 KB. It will take as a bigger KB, a bigger block.
Got it. Got it.
Okay.
Hello, Vira.
Yeah.
Hello. What is the difference between Hadoop and HDFS API, both?
What is that? Could you please repeat your question?
What is the difference between Hadoop and HDFS API? Both are in
both are same. Hadoop FS is the old one, and HDFS DFS is the new version. It is come.
It's not new version. It is not a new version. It is like another channel to access your HDFS file system. Okay, I understand you are asking this question, right? So Hadoop FS, sorry, Hadoop FS and HDFS DFS. What is these two, right? These are two different channels to access to your HDFS file system. So early Hadoop, when Hadoop has been started, Hadoop initial version of the Hadoop, they come up with a Hadoop FS. The Hadoop FS saying that clearly it is a Hadoop file system. The Hadoop FS means Hadoop file system. when they started new versions, or when they started coming with the latest versions of the Hadoop, they come up with the HDFS, Hadoop Distributed File System, Distributed File System. The only change what they have made in HDFS, they have added more commands. If you see the difference, let me show you the difference. If we say just Hadoop, you have only fs, version, jar, distcp, archive. These are the only options are available with the Hadoop. If I say same thing HDFS, I have so many options. So they have been improved. They have given more features for you to do directly with the HDFS. I can use HDFS DFS. I can use HDFS name node format, secondary name node. All these commands, I mean, all these tools I can use. I can say they are tools. I can use all these tools. Okay. And as I said before also, Hadoop FS is equivalent to HDFS DFS. If you go and check these commands in this, what are the tools are there, in this also same tools will be there. At the same way, Hadoop DFS admin is equivalent channel to HDFS DFS admin. Okay, the only change, your HDFS and your this, these are not equal.
In MapReduce we use in compiling Hadoop, not HDFS. But what is the significant? In MapReduce we compile the jar file in Hadoop, not using HDFS.
So see, in the MapReduce you can use Hadoop jar. Hadoop jar is the command to execute a jar file. To execute a jar file. Yes. Okay. Whether it's a MapReduce or something else, it doesn't matter. Hadoop jar is the command to execute a jar file. Point number one. And if you don't want to go with Hadoop, you can go with Yarn. You can go with Yarn.
Okay.
Okay. You have Yarn jar. You can also do that. Okay.
Thank you, Veera.
Yeah. Okay, so the Bhargav is asking some question. If I have 1 TB of a hard disk in the system with Hadoop, and how much amount of disk will be allocated for DFS and how non-DFS? Okay, so this is also again based on the percentage you specify, the threshold. There is something called balancer threshold. And see, now my hard disk, what are the hard disk is there, my data node, some portion of the data, some portion of the hard disk will be using by a local file system. Anyway, local file system has been installed and some softwares are there, some folders are there, something is there in your local file system, your something is there that will occupy some space. Rest of the space by default, whatever the space you are specifying here, look at here, data node. So this is a part of your hard disk only. It may occupy your 900 GB of data, or it may be occupies 800 GB of the data, but in the real-time clusters we will specify how much data has to be occupied this data node, how much data has to be occupied this data node. So that can be possible, you can specify. Else if you didn't specify, there is a possibility your data node can occupy the whole space with except whatever the non-DFS is occupied, except that your Hadoop file system can accept the rest of the data, rest of the space of the hard disk. Understand, Bhargav? Am I answered your question?
Okay, thank you very much.
Yep. Okay, yeah. Thank you guys. Thanks for your time. Have a great day and great evening, I can say.
Yeah, Ravi. Ravi, like I want to understand.
Okay, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. You want to understand?
Yeah, so I asked one Java question, like I have I'm passing a command and I want just a sec.
See, that's